I remember back in August of last year when 50 Cent came down here and he had his Humor and Harmony thing. And the first night of events was the comedy show at the Municipal Auditorium. And he had like 50 something comedians come on stage and perform, and everybody killed it. And I recall nearly every comedian cracking at least one joke about the city of Shreveport. They talked about how poor the city is, how ransacked the city is. They talked about our crackheads, our tweakers. They talked about the crime. Almost every comedian they got on stage, they cracked at least one joke about Shreveport. And for good reason, because Shreveport is kind of famous for all the wrong reasons. And this incident that happened at Sandbar last month is one of the many reasons why comedians come here and they crack jokes about Shreveport. So this all unfolded back in January, early Sunday morning, outside of Sandbar, the nightclub downtown on Spring Street, where Trevor Moses and Christopher Temple, they get into some kind of argument outside of the club. And it appears that it started with a drunken female who confronted Trevor for some unknown reason. There's no audio in this video, but it appears to be that maybe Trevor said something inappropriate or disrespectful to this young lady, and she reacts. She's pointing her finger at Trevor's face, and Trevor's kind of like trying to laugh it off, ha 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 ha. And you fast forward about 20 seconds into the video, that's where Christopher Temple steps in, the victim, the deceased. He steps in and he just starts unleashing these haymakers on Trevor. This is the first altercation that's caught on video outside of Sandbar along the sidewalk. Okay. But later, the story goes that later, Trevor returns to the scene, or actually on Commerce Street, and he confronts Christopher Temple again, and these two guys have a second fight. And this time, Trevor gets the best of Mr. Temple. He punches Temple in the face, and Temple falls back, hits his head on the concrete, and he suffers a traumatic head injury. He gets rushed to the hospital, he undergoes surgery, and his condition worsens, and it gets to the point where he has to be released from the hospital, and he goes to hospice. And you know what happens when patients are released to hospice. That means that there's not much that can be done. There's only a matter of time before that person expires. So just a couple of days ago, Christopher Temple dies from his injuries. His first charges were second-degree battery. Now that this man is dead, he could possibly have his charge upgraded to manslaughter. It's not second-degree murder, but he could possibly have this charge upgraded to manslaughter. And there's a big debate going on right now on Facebook, on Love Shreveport Bossier, and there's a guy by the name of Robert Buchan. I don't know this guy, but I went to his Facebook page and I scrolled down his page, and I'm seeing like little snippets from a podcast that I know as That Ain't My Business. That Ain't My Business. That's a podcast. That's a local podcast here in Shreveport. He made this post yesterday on his Facebook page in defense of Trevor Moses, and it sparked a lot of debate. People are going back and forth in the comment section saying that it's self-defense. Well, how can it be self-defense when there were two fights? Trevor comes back. So these two guys have a first fight along the sidewalk in front of Sandbar. That's what you see in this video right here. But what we haven't seen is video of the second fight, the second altercation between these two, where Trevor supposedly comes back to not the actual scene on Spring Street in front of Sandbar, but on Commerce Street, where he confronts Christopher Temple again, and they have a second fight. And that's where he punches him in the face, and he falls back and hit his head and suffers that head injury, and he never recovers. He ends up dying from his injuries. Okay, so that's what people are debating on Facebook right now. They're saying that, well, it's self-defense. It's not self-defense because these are two separate fights. Okay, had he left, I mean, like I'm pretty sure what happened was Trevor probably left the scene of that first fight and probably felt like he got his ass kicked, and he wanted revenge. He wanted to come back and face Temple for round two, and that's what he did. Okay, so his pride was hurt, his ego was hurt. This guy came back and confronted Christopher Temple for a second fight. He got the best of him, and unfortunately, this guy suffers a serious head injury, and he ends up dying. So no, this is not self-defense. This is manslaughter. That's what it is. Okay. Unfortunately, it's very unfortunate that this happened, but that's what this is. This is manslaughter, without a doubt. Okay, and it's going to be very interesting how this plays out because I mean it's sparking a lot of debate on Facebook, and of course people are making this a black and white issue, which it probably is. Sandbar, I've never been there, but they have a reputation of having. They've had a reputation of discriminating against certain people with their dress codes, but I've walked by there many times on a Saturday night, and it's usually like younger white people that visit this club. Sometimes I see some black people in there, not many, but so it's not a hip hop oriented club like a Coco's was back in the day, or Club Hayes, which is across the street. It's not a hip hop club, okay? So they've caught a lot of flack over the years. The owner of that club has caught a lot of flack over the years, saying, "Oh, they're racist. Their staff is racist. They don't like black people coming in there, and yada yada yada." I mean, you can go ahead and read the reviews on Google yourself. Okay, so Sandbar, they don't really have a good reputation in Shreveport, and they've been around a long time, but their following is kind of small on social media. It's a small club that's received a lot of bad reviews over the years, so I've never bothered to even go up in there. I don't really party in Shreveport anyway. Like I told you guys before, I usually go out of town to have my fun. I don't really party in Shreveport like that because of stuff like this. Okay, and there's a lot of trash in Shreveport, both black and white. Okay, that's what Shreveport is mostly made of. I hate to say it, but this is Shreveport shenanigans, and I got to keep it real here. Okay, Shreveport is mostly made of ghetto ass black people and hillbilly honky tonk white folks. And a lot of the hillbilly honky tonk white folks don't like the ghetto black people here. That's why this place is still somewhat segregated. So Robert Buchan went on his Facebook page and posted a little rant. This is exactly why we keep having these conversations. A black man, Trevor Moses, was violently attacked, sucker punched, and beaten down outside by a white man, and when he defended himself, he ended up in jail for murder. The footage speaks for itself. The brutality of the assault is clear, but the moment he fought back to save his own life, the system turned against him. How is that justice? Watch the video for yourself in the comments. Let me know. How was he supposed to survive? We can't keep letting these situations go unnoticed. Hashtag justice for him. Hashtag self-defense is not murder. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. And they're focusing on the first fight. Yes, the first fight, it was fucked up. Okay. But like I said, I think that Trevor left the scene of the first fight and felt like he got his ass whooped and he wanted revenge. He wanted to come back for a second fight. He should not have done that. Sometimes you got to take an ass whooping, man. Sometimes you just got to take an ass whooping. Why did he come back for a second fight? He shouldn't have done that. That's why he's facing these charges now. But you know how black folks are, especially black men. Oh, you get your ass whooped by a white dude? Oh, we can't let that happen, man. We can't let that happen. And like I said, from the looks of the video, it looks like it was all over this chick, this drunken chick who was probably Christopher's girlfriend. And this guy was 43 years old. So, I mean, maybe he likes younger chicks. I don't know, like a 43-year-old man doing his Sandbar. But, sometimes you see older people at these venues. So I'm not knocking the guy's age. I mean, I'm almost 40 myself. I still go out sometimes, not in Shreveport, but help me understand something. Help me understand. So you guys are saying that when a white man and a black man get into a fight, a physical fight, the white man's always at fault for fighting the black man because of the history of racism, the history of slavery. Is that y'all's logic? That's what it sounds like. If so, that's retarded because look, I've had several altercations. I've had several fights with white dudes, okay? And most of them were not race related. It was just a fight because we had a disagreement and it turned physical.